Ultra Reddit presents, what's a cool fact about the human body that a lot of people don't know?
Before we begin, do us a favor by clicking that like button, and subscribe to our channel for more top Reddit stories every day.
Natural redheads require increased doses of anesthesia, due to some connection with the mutated melanocortin-1 receptor. I'm a natural redhead myself, and developed a fear of dentists because I'd always feel what they were doing. Eventually I had an issue that couldn't be ignored, and had to find a new dentist. At my first visit he took one look at me, and said, "You're a real redhead, huh?" Yup. Hygienist, get me 4x the Novocaine. I knew I'd found my man, and he's been treating me ever since. Also shed my fears, since dental work is much less unpleasant when you're actually numb before they start. Archaeologist here. You can give birth after you've died. Occasionally we will come across a really confronting burial where the skeleton of an unborn child is halfway through its mother's pelvis. Generally what happens is the woman has died before giving birth, and after burial, the buildup of gases as the body decomposes forces the baby out. We refer to this as coffin birth. My son has hypoplasia of the corpus callosum, and even since he was a baby, he's 11 now, when he tries to grasp something or use his hands for anything he will immobilize one arm to use the other. In therapy we worked on getting him to use both hands together, but while one hand might be reaching for a toy, the other hand would knock the toy off his table or throw it. He would get so frustrated and start yelling. He is nonverbal, and flailing both arms around. We have to be careful to keep an eye on him because another thing that goes with this defect is he has a high tolerance for pain, so he might wedge one arm between his wheelchair armrests so hard that it's cutting off the circulation but not show any signs of discomfort. He has a medical bed with tall wooden slats around it, and he will stick one arm through a slot and get it stuck on purpose. Sometimes I think he would prefer to amputate arm and is actively attempting to kill the mischievous arm. Brains are weird. I remember watching a video about this sort of experiment way back when I took intro psych as an elective. With one guy, they asked what he wanted to be when he grew up, and gave each hand a pen. One side wanted to be a doctor, or something similar. It's been years, so while the other wanted to be a race car driver. Some people were put in front of a screen with a divider in front of their face, so each eye was blind to whatever was going on the other side of the body. Then they did exercises with a pen in each hand, and then, for example, if the screen said to draw a toadstool, one half might draw an actual toadstool and the other might draw a toad and a stool. They found some really interesting quirks. Makes me wonder if those people might have conversations between the halves of their brain, communicating through writing or something, since they aren't physically linked to transmit info anymore. As far as I know, they still sever the corpus callosum in some cases of severe epilepsy, to help prevent a seizure from doing damage across both hemispheres. The war that's constantly happening inside of you. Everyone knows about your immune system, but the sheer complexity of it is amazing. Like, your body has neutrophils, which are like the generic white blood cell that constantly goes around your blood vessels seeking out foreign objects. But did you know there are cells called macrophages which are like way better neutrophils in the fact that neutrophils mostly swallow bacteria to kill them? Macrophages do this too, except they can swallow close to 100. You have stuff like dendritic cells whose main goal is to be an early warning system. They swallow an invader, then carry a piece of it back to T cells to activate them. Once they're activated, T cells swarm that specific invader and kill anything that has the antigen. I didn't even name close to all of the cells that are doing constant battle inside of you 24/7 365 days a year. So next time you have a flu or an infection, think of the little guys inside you who gladly fight the good fight. Some people are born with extra ribs called cervical ribs, which grow from the C7 vertebrae in the neck. It's a weird and rare mutation that a lot of people don't even know they have, although it is also a cause of thoracic outlet syndrome, which is where pressure is applied to the nerves, veins and arteries running into the arms. It can be really painful, and in some rare cases can cause gangrene in the arms. If left untreated, it can kill you if you're really unlucky. Source: I have the non-cervical rib-induced variety. Most of our body never gets more than 20 years old. Our cells divide, in a process called mitosis, and then die. The oldest organ in your body is the lungs. In terms of age of your cells, your skin never gets more than a few weeks old. Your mouth never gets more than a few days old. Essentially, the reason we age is not because the cells are old, but they lose their ability to perform functions as effectively as they go through the, mostly genetically determined, aging process. Your cells are only designed to divide a set number of times, due to structures called telomeres. It's a little more complicated than this, but I'm not writing a textbook, nor am I qualified to do so. We have an internal regulator that prevents us from using our full strength. Our muscles usually only work at about 60% max of what we are capable of. In extreme life and death situations, these regulators stop and we are able to use our full strength. This is how the parts where people tipped over cars and similar come from. These regulators are because at full strength we heavily damage our bodies. Essentially, you could lift something to the point where it is either lifted or your arm just breaks instead. I believe there has also been someone who ran so hard his leg broke. I'm pretty sure it's only 60% for peak athletes. If I remember correctly, hysterical strength in extreme situations is because humans are unique in that we have a huge number of slow twitch muscle fibers and not many fast twitch in comparison to other animals. However, humans have a unique advantage from this, because from some gamble nature took, our slow twitch fibers respond far more to adrenaline plus more chemicals, and allow them to contract as fast or even faster than fast twitch fibers. In fact, I believe humans are the only creatures that have the ability to utilize this rush of chemicals to such the degree that we do, what we refer to as an adrenaline rush. As a result, we get our hysterical strength from a combination of this effect of a surge of adrenaline, combined with our body letting us use all our muscle fibers in a single contraction, whereas normally we recruit maybe 20 to 40%. A trade-off for our fine motor skills. So once we have this, we're suddenly a literal order of magnitude stronger. The best part about this, slow twitch fibers produce far more energy than fast twitch fibers, and this is where we get our stamina from. Fast twitch fibers normally produce more per second, but with our normal regulators turned off, it lets the slow twitch fibers match and exceed that production and be far more efficient. When you see stories of a chimp mauling a fully grown man, it's because they're fighting with everything they've got and the man hasn't had a chance to even utilize his full strength. As if he had, that chimp is going to feel a crash course on why humans are the apex predator. Something like a gorilla or bear will obviously still beat the life out of a human, but when we have this hysterical strength, we at least have the ability to hit hard enough to make them feel something and flee. Your body can, in a way, evolve during your life to fit your needs. Say you are a New York City cab driver with a normal brain. You start when you were young and are very dependent on a map or directions from the passengers. As you continue to do this for years, your brain adapts to handle its new job. Areas of your brain in charge of spatial awareness and memory of roads starts to grow. Building a map in your brain. MRIs have shown a significant increase. It's not just your brain though. There is a village somewhere in the Mediterranean, I believe, where they adapt to living in water. Their homes are built on stilts in the water and they are strictly pescatarian by necessity. Their eyes developed thicker outer layers for seeing underwater for long durations, as well as a huge lung capacity. Humans are amazing. Really late, but I discovered this thing during my thesis. We were researching patients with neurological problems and people who had brain injuries, and we found a woman in her 30s that had part of her brain removed. More specifically, the area that activates when you move your body. Well, she was moving and talking with just some minor missteps, and theoretically it was not possible. She was paralyzed in the first 3 months after the operation. She was caught in a car accident, if I remember correctly. We were trying out a new scanner for the brain and we found out that an area of the brain that wasn't supposed to work and control the movement was doing just that. The occipital area, usually controls the vision, was now working as a motor control area. The brain is really amazing. Despite us being the most complicated species on the planet, in many ways, we don't have the largest genome, not by a long shot. Compared to our paltry 3 billion base pairs, species like Amoeba dubia that have 670 billion base pair genome should, logically, be more complex, right? They should have way more genes, after all. This is the C-Valley paradox. Genome size does not correlate with organism complexity. It is solved by the fact that humans have a much higher percentage of regulatory elements, DNA sequences that regulate other parts of the genome instead of coding for proteins, than any other organism. Just 1% of our DNA codes for proteins, the other 99% are these regulatory elements, creating unique patterns of activation among that 1%. This patterning has led to the extraordinary diversity of our organs and tissues, the incredible complexity of our brains, and our ability to survive the harsh environments of our world, despite being large, hot, and squishy. References: some Asian people, Southeast like Japanese or Korean, do not emit body odor from their armpits and do not need deodorant. These same people do not have sticky earwax. How can you tell if you're a non-stinky armpit Asian? If you have gooey sticky earwax, keep using deodorant. If your earwax is dry and crumbly, stop using deodorant for a week and have a trusted friend or partner give you a sniff test after moderate exercise or at the end of the day. You probably are wasting money on deodorant. Your brain mostly kinda makes up your field of vision. Receptors on the retina can only register the color of the light in the very middle of the retina. The fovea. The fovea is also the only place on the retina where the density of the light receptors is high enough that you can register a clear distinguished image. The rest is just kind of a blurry black and white mess. Also, there are blood vessels that block the light reaching certain parts of the retina, and the round shape of your eye will make the edge of your field of vision seem closer than the middle. Oh, and because of the lens, the image is displayed upside down. What you actually register isn't blurry, upside down, black and white image with vine-like black lines running through it, caused by the blood vessels, and only the middle part makes a small amount of sense. Your brain just makes the rest of it up.
Thank you for watching this fantastic story. Please tap one of the 4 videos on the screen for another amazing top Reddit stories.